Live. Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. It's Monday, new week, new opportunities. Of course, going to start with Gianni and the Steam report. Gianni and I both coming off a huge UFC card, so we'll talk about that. Krackomberger, of course, is going to drop an NBA prop. We'll get some Monday Night Football thoughts. And Steve Merril. We put a lot on Steve Merril's plate today. This man is going to break down Cowboys versus Raiders, Bucs versus Cavaliers, and then we're going to college basketball to talk Oregon State and Oregon. We got football. We got basketball. We're going to do some free plays. Let's kick off the week the right way. Thank you so much for joining us. Hit the like button. Let's bring in Gianni. Gianni, you and I, president, vice president of the Michael Morales fan club.
Oh, yeah, my favorite.
There's something... What is it about coming off of an awesome winning UFC Saturday? It just hits a little different.
Differently, bro. You're so right. I had a
better.
good week. Like I said, I tell you when I win, tell you when I lose. I lost in college football last week, so I was excited about this week. And I ended up going 14-6, gave 20 bets with the weekday games, Saturday games, went nice, profitable week. Exactly what I expected. NFL, same thing. Went 5-1 on 4% plays, swept the Sunday night side in total. But I was more excited about what I did in MMA, because that is what cost me this entire year. I've had a losing MMA year, and after 4 or 5 straight winning years, it's cost me my profit almost for 2025. So I've been furious, like we were talking about before we went on air. But yeah, over the last couple of events, I got back to myself and feeling it, and woke up this morning excited. Just because of that, you're absolutely right. Nothing bigger than crushing the MMA card.
It's MMA and it's golf for me. My guys know me. If I have a winning golf week, it's a great week. If I don't, I'm in a bad mood until we get to the next golf tournament.
Yep.
So, all right, let's talk about Steam Report today. We've got NFL. We got some opening lines. I know we got college basketball. We got NBA. Let's talk about this NFL game real quick. Knock that out. Anything of note that we need to look at?
Yeah, I mean, listen, after yesterday's games, the Sunday night game I thought it was going to be so one-sided. It didn't end up being that way, so I'm interested to see what kind of risk they have coming into this Monday Night Football game, because we're not seeing line movement. Here's what I mean. At Dallas, look ahead, opened at about -3.5 with the over 50.5. You could look on the board right now. There's still 3.5s out there. 3.5 -05 or 3 -115. The total 50.5 or 50. So not all that much movement, even though the bookmakers were telling us, at least, leading into the weekend, that they thought they'd have a lot of exposure on the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't think that's the case so far. And here's why. Dallas, what's to be excited about Dallas? They have 1 win in their last 4 games. They're a team that's got 3 wins in 9 games this year. They're 1-4 on the road. They're playing on the road again tonight. They're road favorites. So again, it's not a road team, a favorite that you feel real confident about. Even though on paper you think Dallas is the better team, it's not a matchup where you know the one team's so much more superior than the other. They have 1 more win. That's it. And I think that's where you're starting to see some of the even recreational bettors today saying, wait, maybe there's some value in that live dog Vegas. Because look, over the last 2 games, sure, they didn't win, but they didn't get blown out either. They've lost their last 2 games by a combined 4 points, or they could have very easily won either of those games. Other than the blowout to Kansas City and Indianapolis, they've played tight, over the last 2 months. They're not getting blown out by margin. And I think you're starting to see some of that contrarian thinking. I'm going to fade the public and I'm going to be on the Raiders tonight. And I think the books are going to end up with a lot more balance than they expected in this Monday night game. As far as the betting syndicates, I haven't seen anything as far as this is steam. Last night we knew they were on Philadelphia. They were on the under. And the public was opposite that, which give us even some more line value than we would have had. But so far today, that's just not the case on Monday Night Football. I haven't seen either in the accounts. But again, it's still early. But with it sitting around that key number, you kind of think if they liked the Raiders, they probably would have snatched up the 3.5 already. And if they like the Cowboys, there's threes out there. They could lay the 3 if they wanted to. I could get you right now, I could get you Dallas -3 or Raiders +3.5. And I don't have anybody asking for either. I could get you over 50 or under 51 even. Nobody's asking for either. So it'll be interesting to see if that changes. And if the public continues to play a little contrarian, or is it going to just all be on the Dallas Cowboys? Because again, they're not the sexiest favorite on the road, especially.
Yeah, to me, this is one of those classic games. Listen, I'm always going to talk player props, but this is a player prop game. There's some really good player props out there with a little bit more certainty. So let's take a look let's go to NBA. You got anything in NBA? I do see some pretty big line movements tonight.
Yep. And we have a couple NBA games that got hit already. Start off with 548 Detroit Pistons -8.5 and 9. Then again, they hit -10. You want to see that follow through. I saw the same thing with Toronto, the Raptors game 554, and that's going opposite public. For whatever reason, the tickets that I'm seeing so far, again, it's early in the day, but seeing the public taking the Hornets, public versus Sharps on that one. And then finally 560, the Denver Nuggets. This one's gotten away from us a little bit. I don't know if there's a player out because look ahead was like 10.5. The overnights got hit at 11.5, 12.5, then 13.5 again this morning. So check as far as injury or players sitting. Those are some of the legit moves that I see. Some of the more one-sided real quickly. I'm seeing the public heavy on the Miami Heat over the Knicks. They're laying the 17 with the Thunder. So again, usually those games with that big of a spread don't get much volume, but that actually has the most tickets as of right now. There's more tickets on the Thunder than any other team with this book that I have access to. And then one game that's just over. There's not a single under bet. And that is Pacers Pistons, and he's got nothing but over action there. So if you're seeing a slight move towards the over, it's probably public money related, not sharp money related, because I didn't see any over Pacers Pistons in the accounts. And real quickly, that reminds me, yesterday we were in the steam room, and I told my subscribers what I'm seeing in this book. Okay, this guy has a solid book, couple hundred players. They don't bet big. Like normal people, $30, $50, $100 probably average bets. On the Minnesota versus Chicago Bears game yesterday, 5 minutes before kickoff, I told my subscribers, if I'm betting just to fade the public, this is an automatic. Because here's what my guy has right now. He had exactly $6,430 bet on Minnesota. And he had $40, just one $40 bet on Chicago. So think about it. For him to amass over $6,000 worth of bets, that means everyone he had was betting $30, $50, $100 on Minnesota, and just one dude bet $40 on Chicago. And again, I'm not saying fade the public, but there are some times you got to pay attention to that. And here's what stuck out. The line didn't move. Like, why not go to 3.5? If you're that heavy on one side, why are you booking it? Why are you okay with the risk? So something like that, you got to pay attention to when you see all on one side like this with Pacers Pistons. Like, it's too early. That could change between now and later. But yeah, it's just funny because I know everybody likes, like, what do the books need? What do the books need? Usually you don't need anything but people to bet. You're getting 11 to 10. But sometimes you do see some needs, and it's funny when it works out that way.
Putting that much money on J.J. McCarthy it's a choice.
Yeah,
it's a real choice.
Not a good one.
I'm going to do actually a breakdown of that Denver and Chicago game. What happened was Chicago played last night, and it went to double overtime. So their starters played a bazillion minutes. They had 3 starters that played 40+, including their center. And now he gets to try and go up against Nikola Jokic after playing 41 minutes. So that's where this massive line move, it probably happened after that double overtime last, and they're on the road. Like, both games are on the road. So it's just a brutal, brutal spot. As far as the Thunder and the Pelicans, Zion has been upgraded from out to questionable. And I know this is going to sound crazy. I think they might be worse off with him playing tonight. coming back
Oh,
from a
wow.
hamstring. He's not healthy. Jordan Poole is sitting out, and now you're going to bring him back against the best team in the NBA. This spells disaster. I imagine
Yep.
that's kind of what some of the people are looking at. So we'll see.
Mark,
We'll
to
see.
answer Mark's question, we start firing early in the week, brother. Like we may fire tonight, tomorrow at the latest. I start firing NFL and college football because we try to get out ahead of these line movements. Especially in college sports where you get a lot more significant movements. NFL, not as critical except for totals. But college football, you can't wait till Saturday. If you're putting all your bets in Saturday, it's going to be tough to find a lot of good bets to place.
Let's see. Are there any opening lines that you got that you're a
Yeah, couple
got
NFL.
some interest?
Yeah, a couple NFL that got hit immediately. New England Patriots, and I'm not sure if it's a bet on New England or a fade of Cincinnati. It's probably a little bit of both. The wheels are coming off on Cincinnati. I mean, the look ahead was 4.5. They bumped it up to 5 during yesterday's games. That got hit to 5.5. They brought it out, 6.5 got hit, and now 7. That's why you're looking at 7s across the board. Like they're blasting that. Jacksonville, which also looked good. We were on Jayville yesterday. Even gave a 4% on Jacksonville. And instead of upgrading them to a 5%, I just threw out a 1% added on the money line, and they came through for us. They got hit again. It's not up to that key number of 3, but the look ahead was 1, and you're now looking at 2.5 juiced, which means 3 is coming. And this one, Indianapolis and Kansas City. What a big game. In Kansas City, 4.5 was the look ahead, okay? They brought out -4, not high enough. 3.5, too high. Down to 3. So a lot of love early from the Sharps on the Indianapolis Colts over Kansas City. And then that Philadelphia, it'll be interesting based on what Dallas does. But here's what's wild. Philadelphia, the look ahead was -6. Philly gets it done. Beats who I had as the best power rated team. Detroit does it on not primetime television. And the look ahead was 5.5. And we're now looking at 4.5. That almost never happens. Now I got to look into the injury report and see did 14, starters get destroyed yesterday or just some key players get hurt or something. I'm not sure, but that just is a rarity. That's why I'm glad you said, let's talk NFL real quickly. Some of these look aheads and that got hit because you would usually see the opposite happen. And like what happens today, if Dallas if Dallas loses to the Raiders, that line's got to move back up, right? Philly beats Detroit. Dallas loses to Raiders. But then if Dallas goes out there and looks great, this line makes sense. So I don't know. Is this anticipation of Dallas going out there and looking great tonight? Because you almost never see that. Philly got the job done. They covered. They beat Detroit on TV. And they're discounted this morning. Yeah, that sticks out a lot.
Anything in hockey tonight? No, we got a good slate of hockey. I've been not really paying attention to any money lines, just focusing.
I know. Let me tell you where I see action real quickly. I haven't seen any. We haven't bet anything in the accounts, but here's what sticks out a lot. Where was that? Obviously, they're going to bet that. The one dog. LA. They're betting LA. And this in hockey has done really well. When I see the recreational accounts on the dog, it never turns it. Not never. It doesn't turn out well very much in hockey when they're loving these dogs. And that one really sticks out. They are liking LA a lot. And then they're liking Anaheim also. And the Utah line's moving up. So you're seeing one of those reverse line movement situations. I got to look into that too. So LA and Anaheim, the two heaviest bet. And both of those look like dogs. Like I said, long term, that has not been a recipe for success in NHL.
Yeah, Anaheim's been the darling of the start to the NHL season, just completely outperforming. So I'm not surprised public is trying to jump on Anaheim and catch a falling knife. So do you have anything in college basketball before we let you go?
I'll give you a couple college basketball moves I just bet this morning. College of Charleston, 804, -6 and 6.5. 811, Tulsa from +13 down to +11. 862 or 82, NC State -10.5 and 11. So that's NC State -10.5, 11. And then finally 822, UC Santa Barbara -2 and 2.5. So that's College of Charleston, Tulsa, NC State, and Santa Barbara. All legit moves already hit.
All right. It's a great Monday. What do you have up for
Yes, it
everyone?
is. Yes, it is. Monday night package is going up in the next 30 minutes. Confirmed it right before I got on. I think now 14-4 on Sunday night, Monday night football games dating back a couple months. I like this game. Got the confirmation. That play will be up in 30 minutes. Then we'll prepare for this week's college football and NFL. But also you'll have college basketball tonight, NBA, if I'm able to confirm. But college basketball for sure. And yeah, big week ahead, man. Great way to end the month and end the year with all the bowl games coming up. Just a good time to get involved. So best of luck to everyone.
All right, Gianni The Greek, thank you so much for joining us. Let's get the week started off right. Yeah, we just missed it. So what Gianni was saying is we don't have anything confirmed. So when he doesn't get confirmation, it's not going to be an official bet from the syndicates that he works on, and it's particularly dangerous to look at money and bets and especially on the totals, because you have no idea if somebody's manipulating the line or what. You see that happen in MMA all the time. You see a line move and you say, oh man, everyone must like this guy, and then all of a sudden it's flying the other way on the day of. So just be careful about looking at percentage of money and bets on the over. In certain games. So let's do it all around the world. Let's do some free plays. Let's get us started here with the game tonight. Pretty good prop here. CD Lamb over 26.5 on his longest catch. He's gone over in every game except the Chicago game where he got hurt. And the Raiders have given up at least one pass per play over this total in every game except the Titans. I feel like the Titans are one of those teams where that's just going to apply every week. It's going to be like, oh, this team did, except the Titans. We'll go to the NBA. Sam Merril over 10.5 points. I'm not really sure about this 10.5 number. They've been putting him out at 11.5, and we get a lower line here. Garland is out, and Sam Merrill's gone over in 6 out of 8 games with Garland out of the lineup. He has played Milwaukee earlier this year with a similar lineup. He had 17, and Milwaukee gives up 26.4 points to shooting guards. And then we'll go to the 76ers and the Clippers. Andre Drummond over 11.5 points. Last 4 games without Embiid in the lineup, he's averaging over 13 points. Clippers, they allow 25.9 points to centers. It is absolutely insane how bad Zubac has been on defense. What Jokic did to him the other night was not fair. So those are your free plays here. I would also like to sit here and say that me not making all of us enough money off of the Michael Wilson receiving prop and Dawkins to win by finish is actually, I should actually be arrested. Me not making everyone enough money is actually worthy to be put on trial in front of a jury of my peers, because those were so automatic and such easy cashes, and I did not do my job, and I am kicking myself. You're never going to be mad at yourself for a win, but when you don't win enough, it just irks you. Let's bring in Bill, see if he has that same feeling. Bill, you're just one of those plays where you're like, I didn't make enough on that play. I was talking about Michael Wilson over. I sat here and I was like 46.5 yards over on Michael Wilson. This line is completely wrong. I think he had like 150 plus. So I'm sitting here with the winning ticket, and I'm upset. Ever happened to you?
Yeah, sure. Of course, you could be a Monday morning quarterback on a lot of things and say, I should have bet more, or should have bet this, should have bet that. But I kind of don't really feel that way, because I bet a lot. I try to bet max bets here in Vegas on props. Pretty tough though, because you only have certain places. I'm not in jurisdictions where you have the DraftKings, FanDuel, maybe the other sports books of the world that people have. Very lucky to have those, but a lot of props. We have BetMGM here. Caesars, I'm not allowed to play. I got thrown out for winning, but doesn't matter. They can't keep me out of there, to be honest with you. It's so stupid. Throw people out, and I easily can get back in through someone else. But anyway, so yeah, we don't have the options that most of the country has as far as props. So Westgate, Circa, they take a dime each. They're very good to me. But so I'm usually getting down the most I can get. When it comes to props, I'm betting max amount of money. So I don't have that problem where I say I should have bet more. I only say I wish I could bet more. So yeah, but no, props are a big part of my forte. Yeah, this is what I do. Again, another winning week, WagerTalk. My assistant here, I knew he won. I just didn't know what. He's just sent me over plus 13.4 units for the week. There's some of these guys out there on social media that want to rip everybody, and they don't even know how to. They don't even realize that we're betting 3 or 4 times more on something, a prop than a side, and they just want to say, they put everything together and go after you. Of course, they're under anonymity. They never want to come and talk to me in person or talk to anybody in person because that's their job. Their job is to be under anonymity because they wish they were winning bettors themselves. They're unhappy with their lives. There's so many misplaced rage. It happens. I get it. I get it. People are upset. Holiday time coming. People get down and depressed and upset and decide to go to Twitter and where else to take it out on people. But it happens though too. I'm not a holiday. I'll be honest with you. Since my mother died, my parents, it's just not the same. We never knew that it was the glue that held everyone together. We thought things were going to last forever, Andy. We thought things were going to be the same forever. We never knew that things were going to change. That's the way it was going to be until the end of time. But things change, and I do feel for people also, but not for the people that want to post on their anonymity. But I feel for people in general. Holiday time, it's not the best time for a lot of people. We bring so much stress on ourselves too. Preparing things, getting things ready, and being that glue that holds the family together. I realize how much stress. I had an old-fashioned Italian mom. She had to make sure everything was absolutely perfect, and she terrorized my father, terrorized everybody. And I say terrorized, that's not the right word. She just wanted to make sure things were right. So anyway, holiday time coming up. I stay in town here in Vegas. I am stepping out for a charity event for a couple days. But as far as that goes, I really don't. I used to travel all the time. When Jersey was taking my bets, when I was able to go to Atlantic City, and I had so many different places along that boardwalk in Atlantic City to bet on, right at the beginning when Passport was repealed for those first 2-3 years, that was great. I went there for 3 months out of the year. I haven't been back in a year. That's unbelievable. I went for 3 months, even 4 months out of the year. Spent my summers in Jersey. Different timing now. We're in different times. I was just interviewed by a Chicago newspaper. He asked me about the reversal of PAPS. So what did I feel? He was shocked at my answers. That I probably wish it wasn't done. I was going to be so happy, and we were going to make and I did make a lot of money in the beginning. Bonuses were ridiculous. Sign-up bonuses, lots of opportunities when the sports books actually took winners and used the information. But now, everyone throws you out. All those new sports books kind of limit you or throw you out. So it's upsetting to someone like myself because I thought it was going to be great. But now, thinking about it, I have that responsible gambling aspect to me. And let me tell you, it's hurting a lot of people. There's a lot of closet gambling going on, especially in the 7 states that allow online casino games. People are playing blackjack and slot machines, and the kids go to bed and the husband's firing on basketball or football in the other room. What's the wife doing? She's going in the bedroom under the covers playing slots. There's a lot of closet gambling.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it really bothers me that this is going on and not being dealt with, not being talked about with a lot of places. Because listen, I know the human makeup, what we're made up of. I know what happens. So when you throw that little gambling in this mix, imagine growing up where I did, New York, New Jersey. We had so many vices: drinking, drugs, women, lottery, casinos, racetrack. Now you want to give them online blackjack. Now you want to give them online slot machines. Let me just tell you, the interview I gave out, I'm going to retweet it. I was very, very blunt and very, very frank about things. It hurt us here in Nevada. That's right. It hurt us here in Nevada being an advantage sports bettor. These new companies coming to the country and the lines being so much wider and, the money lines. So now the typical money line I'm used to is minus 140, come back $1.20 here in Vegas. And these new companies were minus $1.40, come back even. It's crazy. Why? Because all these new areas, these new jurisdictions, the new genre, the kids that are 18, 19, 20, 21, I can do this. I watch ESPN. They're just used to, oh, that's the way it is. Okay, I didn't know any better. They never been to Vegas. They never knew about gambling, the odds, the real odds. I can go off on tangents that you see people. Sorry, that's what I do.
It's fine. Let's it's a story for another day. I've heard ads. I'm not even going to mention the casino, and I'm just like, how is this legal? It's got like celebrities endorsing it, and celebrities are the investors in it. I actually can't really believe. I can't believe that that's allowed. But whatever. Let's talk NBA. Let's talk NBA. Give me a prop for tonight. We got a lot of good games to choose from.
Okay.
A lot of props.
Last one. I said something, didn't finish it though. How it hurt us in Vegas here. Well, the sports books here in town said, well, hey, those companies are charging $1.35, $1.50 for teasers. Let us do that. We used to have $1.20 teasers here. And now the money lines are even wider. I don't have one 10-cent baseball shop. Why? Because of the new companies that are in the other jurisdictions. They're getting away with it. They're making a ton of money. Vegas has decided, oh, let's do the same thing. Give them no choice. They got to lay $1.30 and come back $1.30 and $1.10. That's just the way it is. Well, there is a way. Don't even do it anymore. Don't even bet it. I mean, find a local guy. All right, now NBA prop. I have an NBA prop tonight. Andre Drummond. Let me make sure. I hate to give out a bad line. Okay, under 12.5. Good. All right, under 12.5 rebounds. Minus $1.15. Minus $1.20 is fine. I have two different lines in front of me. So he's been averaging 10.5 points without Embiid. But tonight, he's in a tough matchup with the Clippers here. Second lowest pace in the league. The backup center, Barlow, is back for the Sixers tonight. Drummond has a chance to get in some foul trouble here. Clippers, he's up against Zubac tonight. So I think they're, hopefully he gets some, like I said, they can get in some foul trouble. It draws a lot of fouls in the paint. Under 12.5, minus 20 and minus 15, two different sites I'm looking at. So there's a prop for tonight. Having good weeks here, WagerTalk. Like I said, if people know how to grade it properly, and if you're betting more on the props like you're supposed to, and betting more on certain things like you're supposed to, plus 13.4 units last week. And again, props overall, 13 and 10. College football is really good last week, 7-1. But overall, in general, that's why you have to be enamored in everything. You have to play everything. You have to have outs, which I'm sure you do. If you have DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, BetMGM, I can go on and on. They have player props on positions, and we give out obtainable lines. I can pad my record and have a much better record if I give out a line like some people do. They send out, I see these text messages, they send out Drummond under 12.5 at Hard Rock. Well, how about if you don't have Hard Rock? How can you grade at Hard Rock? You have to grade an obtainable line. I don't do that. I'm giving you an obtainable line. It's the way it works.
Any thoughts on Monday Night Football? I love props in this game tonight. I think this is the exact opposite of last night. Last night was unders galore. I think tonight could be overs galore.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything yet, but I'm sure I will. I'll have a prop up. And it's just, it's Monday Night Football. It's a very efficient line. It's been up there all week. Unless you're living in Vegas, let me be blunt. Unless you're living in Vegas or a jurisdiction that has it, if you find your weak sports books, I say weak, your slower moving sports books. Like last night, the Win here in town was begging you to take the Eagles. They had someone come in from the casino, come in and bet a lot of money on Detroit. Therefore, they have to have, it was a scalp. It was an absolute scalp. They had minus 2.5 even. You could have took plus 2.5, plus 0.5. It was a scalp. The money line was minus 130. There was not even one money line anywhere minus 140. It was minus 130, then minus 135, begging for. So that's good. If you come to town, you want to make sure you check the lines out at the Win, Stations, and the Coast properties. You want to make sure. Well, I won't throw the Coast in there. They have the FanDuel line, which is, I think FanDuels are pretty. They have sharpened up since they came to the country here. So you want to make sure you have those two places, though. It's very important to have the local casinos. I think, like I said, Stations and Win, pretty slow moving and sometimes dependent on what action they get based on the casinos there. So that's about it. and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good week here with what we have up over on Wager Talk. Like I always say, guys should lock me up. Lock me up throughout the Super Bowl. Lock me up for a 3-month plan. You got all the props. You got all the weekly college basketball now starting to roll, and props on NBA. Of course, you can go on a $39 program or something where, any one day, anyone could do anything. So I would say minimum a week. See how it goes. See how I do. Like I just said, plus 13.4. If you would have listened to me last week when I said it, plus 13.4 units just based on the bankroll. That's important too. You can't go off half-cocked and put something on a Sunday night game or a Monday night game and go crazy just because you lost. Now, you wouldn't have lost following me for the week, but maybe you lose on your own stuff. I never forget. I went 36-8 1 month and in college basketball, and I lost 3 clients. I told my assistant I want all 3 of their emails. I asked all 3, what happened? How can you quit now? Not that I usually don't. I never do that. It's just one of the reasons. Sure enough, the reasons are they put everything in parlays, total sucker bets. So they don't realize how much what they're doing by betting parlays. Their wife told them to stop gambling because they're gambling on other stuff. The guy was very honest. He was going to the racetrack every night. I mean, these guys all have excuses of other One guy said, I didn't even know you won. What? He said, yeah, I fire on a lot of different things. I thought maybe you won, but if you can't realize that, if you can't win, when I'm going 36-8, get out, brother. Do something else. Go roller skating. Go fishing. Do something.
I've had that happen before. It's like I went 4-1. How'd you lose? Well, I parlayed all of them together. You're like, oh no.
Well, parlays, you can't win betting parlays. Sports books have 60 to 70% of their profit they report on parlays. I know they look fun. All the people on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram with a broad on each shoulder and the nice fancy car and the money, the bricks of money, because they hit their $10 parlay to win $60,000. Trust me, you're not hitting that. Forget about it. You're chasing a pipe dream. All right, that's it. I'm done.
Crackman, everyone. Always bringing the heat. Thank you, Bill. Can't wait to talk to you again next Monday. Good luck. All right, we have a couple of NFL bets up for Monday night. These are props, and we've got 2 of them. Just was going to fire on one. Then I kept staring at the other one and said, no, this is worthy. So we got 2 best bets that are up 17-10 on primetime games this year. So primetime games continue to hit at a good rate. We've also got NBA and NHL props that are up. I believe there's 3 of them that are up. Probably going to be a 4th one coming up this afternoon once I get some injury report. Again, 7 days. That special went over so well. We're going to run it for another couple of weeks. It's 7 days of NBA and NHL props. Again, one night I could win, I could lose. Give me 7 days. You see how we handle the props markets. You see our write-ups. You see that we tend to kind of gravitate towards the same guys for stretches of time. Hope to catch those streaks. Get a 4-1, 5-2 type of streak going. So 7 days. It's only $69 if you just want something for tonight. Monday night best bets are up, and we're up 50 units in November. Crushing November. Loving it. Let's talk about NFL Week 11. Let's do some questions that we may have coming out of Week 11. Are the Chiefs going to make the playoffs? Did you see their percentage to make the playoffs if they lost that game? Yikes. And now they get the Colts? Ruh-roh, Raggy. That's not good. Were the Vikings in a lose-lose situation with Darnold and McCarthy? Like, did it turn out it was just like, you know what, we can keep Darnold, who will just blow it in the biggest game, and then we have J.J. McCarthy, who looks really awful. I'm going to talk about the Chargers here in a second with Dan. Dan, is Joe Alt really that much of a difference maker? This team went from possibly winning the division to cannot get out of their own way with one offensive lineman. Is he really that good? The Chargers are inept on offense without him. It's really bizarre. And then let me know in the chat here. I'll ask you too as well, Dan. What 7-win team do you least believe in? These are the teams with 7 wins. You got the Bills, the Chargers, the Bears, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. To me, it's a really obvious one. I'll be interested to see what you guys think of in the chat. What 7-win team do you believe in the least? All right, so those are Week 11 questions. Let's go to some quick, where did the books win? Where did the public win? Really wasn't a whole lot of consensus out there. Where did the books win? The Ravens didn't quite get there. The Green Bay and the Giants game not get there. And where the public won, they went heavy heavy on that under in the Miami-Washington. That was no sweat. And the 49ers minus the points. So, but again, not a whole lot of big-time consensus plays this week. And then we go to the prop markets and fantasy football winners and losers. Brock Purdy. Got to say Brock Purdy looked really good. George Kittle, along with that, Jacoby Brissett and Michael Wilson and Trey McBride putting up video game-esque numbers there. Josh Allen, of course, with a massive 6-touchdown game. Sean Tucker for the Bucs had a huge game. Bryce Young and Ted McMillan, that's their best game of the year as far as stats go. And Travis Kelce continues to get it done. And Bijan Robinson may be getting a lot of work in the next coming weeks. Michael Penix looks like he may be done for the year. Drake London is out for at least a week. We go to the losers. Lamar Jackson. Is this guy healthy? What's going on? His numbers are just not there. Sam Darnold with 4 interceptions. That was terrible. Justin Herbert and the Chargers were terrible. Jamar Chase, boy, did he screw it all up for anybody that believed in him yesterday. I continue to say Justin Jefferson, his stats are not going to look good with McCarthy as a quarterback. Woody Marks had a great matchup. He kind of... He wasn't awful, but he wasn't that good. And then the Falcons' passing game is now completely blown to smithereens. You got Drake London, who's injured. Kirk Cousins is going to have to step in and be quarterback. And Dan, can I say outdoors Jared Goff? Outdoors Jared Goff looked truly awful. Dan, would you like to come in and brag about the Chargers? Jags that was not
outdoor. Well, when you see Jared Goff trotting out of the tunnel and he's wearing sleeves and double gloves, it doesn't exactly inspire confidence of his abilities in the outdoor. But
it's so bad.
The Eagles certainly didn't make it easy for him, man. I mean, there wasn't a clean pocket on 4 or 5 plays last night. Defense was just flying around. So it's easy to say, yeah, it was just Goff in the weather. It's more, I think, holistic to look at what Vic Fangio's defense has done to all of these teams. It's happened week after week after week. And whether it's weather, whether it's not, the one constant is Vic Fangio and that defense, since adding Jalen Phillips, has finally cracked that pass rush that they were lacking from last year's defense. And thank God they have a good defense, Andy, because the offense is equally as ugly as the defense is beautiful. Sure.
The Tango and Cashes, the Philadelphia Tango and Cashes. Again, it was horrible to watch, and I had to watch every second of it. I was just blown away by it. But you're right, man. Your defense, the eye test, that's the best.
I don't think it's horrible to watch. I think there's just as much fun when you're watching a good dominant defense. And as an Eagles fan, but here's the thing: is prop betting overs and fantasy football has warped everyone's mind that no one likes defensive football games anymore. If there's not high scoring, everybody Monday morning quarterback says this game was just awful to watch, and I completely disagree. I think there's value in good defense,
so
and I enjoy watching.
The difference last night between the two units was Jared Goff was throwing incomplete passes to wide receivers who were covered. Jalen Hurts was throwing incomplete passes to wide receivers who had a step or two on passes that should have been incomplete. There were a lot of drops.
Typically on deep balls with 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, you're going to see some fluctuation on passes. So that's going to happen. Wait, you don't think wind matters when you're throwing deep balls?
Then stop throwing the deep ball. If you don't like fluctuations in the wind, stop throwing the deep ball.
That's very fair. I mean, it would also help if Devontae Smith didn't have an uncharacteristically bad game. Bunch of drops out of him. Dallas Goedert, bunch of drops out of him. Lane Johnson goes down, so the offensive line wasn't quite there. But let's focus on the bad passes from Jalen Hurts and not the one where he avoids the sack in the end zone, rolls out to his right, floats it over a defender into a perfect window, and Jahan Dotson when there's a safety over the top. But Jalen Hurts can't throw. Jalen Hurts is awful.
Great. It was a great play. It was a great play. So Dan and I are going to go over tomorrow our before season predictions for season win totals.
Some were really good.
We had to do every single team. So we made it very clear, Hayes, a lot of these are not bets. Some of them are hilarious. Some of them are just laugh out loud. So Dan, I want to don't tell me what it is. Save it. Your biggest takeaway from our season wins tomorrow. I'll give you my biggest takeaway, and we'll see if we land
like
on the same thing. Because there are some hilarious ones where you look like a complete ass. You're like, how?
I know, but that's what happens. You're picking 32 teams season win totals. If you go 32-0, you should have entered that contest at the Westgate, where you pick every one of them. You're not going to get every one of them right. And to answer your question, Andy, I think this was a terrific question, and we want to get Steve Merrill's thoughts on this one. He's coming up next. The last 7-win team that I have the least belief in. I get it. The Bears are winning. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that win yesterday had a lot more to do with how bad J.J. McCarthy was than how well prepared the Bears were. If that was even a somewhat competent quarterback under center, that actually probably not only does it not end up as a Bears win, you're seeing that as a potential double-digit loss if you watch that game. And the Seahawks, I know that's going to be the big one because of how awful Darnold looked, but we already knew that Darnold at some point was going to turn back into a pumpkin. So I think their defense is still strong enough, and they have enough playmakers around that offense that I don't think the bottom is quite falling out on the Seahawks just because we got a vintage Sam Darnold game, but that's probably going to be a popular pick. So for me, sorry to my friend John Hoagland and the Eagles-Bears alliance that has been fun on Twitter. 3-0 for the Bears against the NFC East, and 3-0 against the NFC North for the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Bears and Eagles alliance.
Amazing.
I'm not so sure how much I believe in the Bears, Andy.
I actually land on the same team. It was between the Chargers and the Bears, and then you just look at the wins from the Bears, and you're just going, "Come on!" This has got getting creamed in the first round of the playoffs. This has them, this is them getting nuked in the first.
The honorable mention for me, because they're not a 7-win team, they're even better than that. New England Patriots are losing the first round of the playoffs. That will be one of my more sizable bets, is that the New England Patriots will be losing the first round of the playoffs.
I love it. Peasy says, I'm becoming a believer in the Bears. Don't do it.
Don't do it to yourself.
Peasy.
Don't do it. Believe in the Bears.
Come back. No, don't go to the dark side. All right, let's bring in Steve Merril. Steve Merril, never on the dark side. Steve, how are you today?
Doing well. Yeah, we've seen the NFL well. 3-0 last Sunday, 2-1 yesterday, and then 4-1 on Saturday in college football. So been picking our spots, and I hope you guys did not have the over season wins for not my Washington Commanders. Who did you guys have in that? Did you have under? I don't recall that episode.
I'll look it up and see.
Oh, it wasn't a strong opinion. So as you know,
both lean under. Both under.
Commanders. There's this reasoning for me, Steve, was I didn't think they would be this bad, and sure, there's injuries that are part of it, but because of how much they exceeded expectations last year, there was no possible way that they could not under exceed expectations this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, and as you guys know, that was my one season wins total I've released in the last 5 years to clients, and it officially has cashed already under 9.5. There might have been some 9s out there, which means they have to run the table if you got plus money, which is actually an even better bet. I wish I'd had that. But under 9.5 was the play, and they lost in overtime. So it has now officially cashed, even if they win every game remaining. So, and it's funny, Dan mentioned, the injury part, but as you know, Andy, that was part of the handicap, is I thought Jaden Daniels was a high risk to be injured this year. And that was even more upside to the downside, if you will, with the Commanders. And by the way, that was the Dolphins were very public yesterday at -2.5, and they covered in overtime, winning by 3. Last week, the Colts were a very public play at 6, mostly 6.5s over in Germany, and they win by 6 in overtime. So it's good to see that the fix is in, even over in Europe.
No.
There we go. Oh boy, no. Don't go there.
That's the worst part about the betting scandal. Not that people lost money and everything, but now anytime anyone's
that it's international now,
fixed. It's fixed. That fight looked fixed. That game looked fixed. All right, let's talk about a game that's not fixed. Let's talk Cowboys and Raiders. I think this game's going to be weirdly exciting. In just one of those kind of car crashes, you can't take your eyes off of it. How do you break down this Cowboys and Raiders team? There's a lot of variables in this game.
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting, actually, because I think there'll be some points. First of all, the Cowboys, there were 5 very public plays this week. And I just mentioned the public went 2-2 on Sunday. Would have been 1-3 had the Dolphins not covered in overtime. But by the way, the other public plays, the most public play of the week was the 49ers, easy win. Last week, it was the Lions, easy win. So just blindly fading the most public play is not a great strategy, and I rarely do because you're usually on a really ugly team like the Commanders last week. So I just don't like Cardinals this week. The other public plays, though, by the way, the Chargers were very public. I had a free play for everybody on my site at WagerTalk.com on the Jags, easy winner there. Also, I'm checking my list here. The Chargers, Detroit. We faded Detroit Sunday night. How could I forget that? That was the public dog of the week. We had the Eagles last night as a client best bet as well. The fifth public play this week, though, is the Cowboys tonight. But as I said in my Fade the Public video, we don't just blindly fade the public. And I'm not in a hurry to fade Dallas in this spot because I think it's actually a pretty good situation for the Cowboys off back-to-back losses and a bye week. So this is a spot where I usually look to play the better team. And the Cowboys are probably the better team. But I will say if you're going to play Dallas, you got to get -3 and lay the extra juice, -120, -125. If you like the Raiders, there's a lot of 3.5 flats available. There's about an 8 to 9% chance Dallas wins by exactly 3 points tonight. Cowboys -3 or Raiders +3.5 is how you play it. I would prefer to have Dallas -3. But I think the better play in this game is actually the total, and I like the over 50. Now, when I did my standalone video a few days ago for this game here on Wager Talk TV, it was around 49.5. 50 is what we call a dead number, so there's still value. 51 is the key number. About 3% of games are going to land exactly on 51 points. Less than 1% of the time is it going to hit 50 or 52 for that matter. Get briefly open at 51, came down a bit. I don't agree with that move. I mentioned how Dallas is coming off back-to-back losses, and they had the bye week. I think that's good for the offense because they had one of their worst offensive games of the season in that Monday night loss against the Cardinals 2 weeks ago. And if you recall, Dallas was actually a very public play in that. I came in here on the show, and I gave you Arizona as a live dog for the free play here 2 Mondays ago. But it was a little misleading because Dallas had 3 turnovers to none. The Denver loss, they had 2 turnovers to 1. So those past 2 losses, they've had 5 turnovers and only forced 1. I look for a cleaner offensive game here off the bye. And I think the Raiders will have a good offensive game off the bye week as well. Coming off a bad offensive game against Denver, who's turned out to be a pretty good team this year. And they also got shut out against Kansas City a few weeks before that. But when they face bad defensive teams this year, and by the way, Cowboys are a really bad defensive team. They scored 29 against Jacksonville in between those 2 games. They put up 24 on the Commanders, who are another bad defensive team, 24 on the Bears, 20 on Tennessee. And I mentioned how Dallas is not a good defensive team. Well, really, any metric you look at, they've been bad defensively this year. They're giving up almost 31 points a game, almost 6.5 yards a play, over 7.5 yards a pass, almost 5 yards per carry. So the Raiders will move the ball here. I like the situational setup here for both offenses coming in with some rest. And by the way, the Raiders are coming off a mini bye. They played the Thursday before, so they've had 10 days off. Cowboys have had 13 off. I like over 50 in this one between the Cowboys and Raiders. Monday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern on ABC and ESPN because it's so good.
I love the over. Dan sitting here. Oh, no, I love these 13-6 games. No. Give me 38-31.
I will be shocked if the Cowboys
No
hold
defense.
anybody to 13 or 6 points this season.
It's true. It's true.
The only
Maybe
thing
in the
that
first
helped the
quarter.
Cowboys is a lightning delay, and we're not going to have that tonight in Vegas in the Dome. So.
Let's move to the NBA. Pretty good game tonight. Bucks, Cavaliers. Garland appears to be the only one that's going to be out, but two really good teams that are probably going to be competing for the Eastern Conference title. What do you see in this game?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It looks like a clean game as far as the injury situation. Garland's the only guy as of 12:30 Eastern I'm seeing kind of pop on the report. And we look at these 2 teams right now, 2 contenders, but the Bucks are just 8-6 straight up, 7-7 against the number. Cleveland 9-5, a little bit of a below average start for them, some overtime losses, but just 4-10 against the number. Cleveland's been a real money burner this year. As they definitely have underperformed considering they were probably like the conference favorite coming in here. As far as the point spread, very little movement from the opening number this morning. It's sitting at 7.5 across the board. I will say there are some books that have gone to 7. So if you like Milwaukee, maybe you grab the 7.5 earlier than later. If you like Cleveland, wait. There are some 7 starting to show. I'm going to look at the total, though, instead for this game. And you mentioned these are 2 of the best teams, perhaps 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And the fact that they both have been a little bit subpar to start off, I think this will have a playoff atmosphere tonight at 7 Eastern on Monday. And whenever I get that, I start leaning towards the under. And the early sharp money likes the under in this game as well. Opened 238.5. It's already down to 235.5, even seeing 235 out there now. And the sharpest book in the world, perhaps Pinnacle, 234.5. That's what we call a sharp book leading indicator. And I do agree with the under in this one for a few reasons. First of all, I mentioned that playoff atmosphere here. I think we'll see some defensive intensity, and both teams coming in here rested as well. They each played on Saturday. Milwaukee, by the way, has lost 2 of their last 3, and they had a bad defensive showing against the Lakers on Saturday. We had a team total play with the Lakers over 118.5. They scored 118, and then they scored 119 right after that. It's like they're just sticking it to me 2 days in a row there just to point out that they could have gotten there and decided not to in the previous night. And we've been over 70% in all sports still over the past week. But the Bucs, 40% offensively shooting, haven't really shot the ball well in recent weeks. They had that breakout game against a bad Hornets team, but when they faced better competition, the games have been fairly low scoring here. And if you look at some of the games they've played recently, the Indiana game only landed on 232, the Dallas game 230, the Houston game got right up to 237. That Laker game, even with a bad offensive showing and bad defense, it still was just 214 the other night. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers, with their size down low, can be a really good defensive team when they want to be. We started to see some of that against Memphis. They held the Grizzlies Saturday to just 36% shooting and only 100 points. Probably their best defensive effort in several weeks. I like under 235, under 235.5. I think we get plenty of wiggle room tonight in what could have a playoff atmosphere Monday night at 7 Eastern between the Bucs and Cavaliers.
Hardest working man on Wager Talk today. You get 3 games to break down. You get
Triple
NFL. Yeah.
3 sports.
Yeah, and this was where I almost tripped myself up. I was like, Oregon State versus Oregon. I was like, do they play each other? Oh, basketball.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting we have to remember basketball's here. So I don't know anything about these teams. Oregon State and Oregon, enlighten us. What do you know about these teams and what can we expect?
It's funny you said it's kind of like the football matchup because the first thing I think of is Civil War, and then I remind myself I can't say that anymore. It's been canceled. I don't even know what it's called now, the border war, but it's not the border war because they're in the same state. I don't know. It used to be the Civil. Yeah, it used to be the Civil War because they were rivals. But that's football. I don't think the basketball was ever referred to that. What this used to be called is a Pac-12 matchup. Can't say that no more either. But they do still play each other, obviously, a little bit earlier in the season than before here on November 17th. And as I'm doing this breakdown about 12:50 Eastern time, the odds logic screen is lighting up. We're seeing some money come in on Oregon, the favorite. They opened as low as minus 12. It was 13.5 a few minutes ago, and now we're seeing mostly 14s out there. So I would call that a sharp move. Middle of the day on a Monday during the football season with Monday Night Football, NBA, when a college basketball game is lighting up, it's probably sharp money. We'll check the injury board. I did not see too much. One guy was listed for Oregon as questionable this morning. Was Devin Pryor, I believe, who's probably like the 5th or 6th guy in my power rankings on the team as far as importance. But he does play about 37% of their minutes. Not a really good shooter or offensive guy. A little bit more important, though, on the defensive side of the court. So my guess is maybe Devin Pryor has been upgraded. Hard for me to believe he's worth a point or so on the line, but I'll point that out as this game has gone from 12 to 13, and now it's moving up to 14. And the other thing that's interesting about that as well is the total is dropping. And once again, that would tell me that maybe this is based on Pryor. The over-under opened as high as 143. It was 141, 140.5 a few minutes ago. Now it's 140. So we're seeing some money coming on Oregon in the under. I think maybe that's player related. One thing I do like about the under in this game is the pace of play here. And we always talk about tempo in college basketball. Now I'll move over to Oregon State, the underdog. The Beavers, they like to play slow. Out of a 360-some teams, they're one of the 20 slowest teams once again this year. Oregon's kind of middle of the pack as far as tempo. I think it's usually easier for the home team to dictate pace, but it's also easier for a slowdown team to dictate pace. And I think that's one of the reasons also we're seeing some money coming on the under in this one. So Oregon and the under moves don't really correlate because I think a lower scoring game in Oregon State makes more sense. One thing about these teams also, they live and die by the three. Oregon State takes a huge percentage of their shots from three-point range. They're currently on the season taking 52% of their shots from three-point range. And Oregon has one of the best three-point defenses in the country, and so does Oregon State. And Oregon also has a very good interior defense. So I really think the Beavers are going to have a tough time scoring in this game. You could look Oregon State team total under or just the full game itself under the 140. Might be a lower scoring game than expected tonight at 10 Eastern in Eugene, Oregon, between the Ducks and the Beavers.
Just so weird. Like whenever you hear Oregon and pace, my mind just goes back to those really fast.
Correct.
And so then you're just like, oh, the basketball team must play like that. It's like, no, completely different coaches, completely different sports. So I got to get that out of my head if I'm betting this. So
Well, keep in mind,
Uh,
Andy, they have played fast at times. Dana Altman's the current coach there. Creighton, I believe, back in the day, some really good mid-major programs. And I do think when they get the opportunity, they're what I call a neutral team real quick. Like their pace is around like 180 in the country out of like 360. So a team like that, I always feel like is going to be dictated one way or the other based on the opponent. And Oregon State's a real slow down team. But if you see Oregon against a fast team this year, you probably will be right. You will see that pace once again.
It's a great Monday. Tomorrow, of course, is $5 Tuesday, so everybody buckle up for that. What do you have up for clients on this Monday, though, Steve?
Not $5 Monday, but tomorrow will be $5 Tuesday. Abe will wake up from his nap on Monday, and he'll be here on Tuesday. So, yeah, Tuesday, $5 Tuesday is great, but you can also make it $5 every day. And actually, tonight on Monday is the last chance to do it because I believe the 10 days for 99 is still up there, and it expires tonight at midnight. So that's 10 days all sports for the price of $7. Also, I've got the 1 year all access available right now with the instant $500 discount. And that gets it down to about $1 a play, about $3 a day. So if you like $5 Tuesday for a single play, how about getting every best bet I release for the next 365 days and nights for about $1 a play with the instant $500 discount? And now's a great time to get on board. You're going to get the complete college and pro basketball seasons, which have just begun. The rest of college and pro football, we went 6-2 this weekend in college and pro football. It's a fantastic time to get on board. The holidays are around the corner. All of next year's basically for the first 3 months. And then all of next year's baseball season, I went 11-2 in the baseball playoffs that just ended. 365-day all access for about $1 a play with the instant $500 discount. Yes, we have single day, weekly, and monthlies, but the 1 year all access is how you get the price down to about $1 a play and you start taking a serious, consistent investment approach every day. But once again, it doesn't matter which package you get. Every client gets the same best bets I release each and every day, the same games I'm personally using. And it's always been that way since I started back in August of 1996, over 29 years ago. Check it out. And don't forget about the bonus free play. We had the Jags yesterday on Sunday. I was mad because we would have been 3-1 had I not cut it for my best bet card, but everybody got it for free. That's always nice, hitting over 70% on those free plays over the past month. Check it out, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and of course, get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. And if you're liking the free play videos, I do them every day here on the channel. Subscribe, click the bell, and make sure you comment below because I read the comments, I reply back. But if you're in a real hurry, just click that like button. That's the most important thing. Thumbs up, like, and I'll keep these free videos coming each and every day right here on Wager Talk TV.
Steve Merril, great job. Thank you so much for breaking down these games. Always dropping knowledge. Make sure you go check out his plays over at Wager Talk. Can't wait to talk to you again next week, Steve. Let's get the week started off right with some winners. All right, let's move to breaking down an NBA game here. I have been tasked with breaking down Nuggets and the Bulls, so let's talk about the Nuggets and the Bulls. The Chicago Bulls opened up as 10.5-point favorites, and immediately before this show started recording, they moved to 14.5. So we recognize that graphic is not accurate when you're watching this probably, but the over-under is about 244. They are on the road against the Denver Nuggets. The reason for this aggressive line move is a double overtime game Chicago had last night against Utah. You've had 3 players play 40-plus minutes last night, Giddey, Okoro, and Vucevic, and they get to go on the road again to the buzzsaw that is the Denver Nuggets. I mean, Denver is number 1 in offense and number 3 in defense efficiency. Meanwhile, Chicago started off the year insanely good, won their first 5, but now they have regressed back. Chicago is now 14th in offensive efficiency. Defense is slipping. They're down to 20th in defense efficiency. Like I said, Bulls won 5 in a row to start the season, but they've lost 5 in a row, and they've lost 5 in a row on the road here. The Nuggets, 6 home games, 5 wins by 10-plus points here. Kobe White is out tonight, and you got a Chicago team that, listen, I know they're professional athletes. They have to be tired. That was an insane marathon game last night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first half on the Denver Nuggets. I don't want anything to do with this massive spread in the fourth quarter. I do think Denver gets out. I love what the Nuggets did in the offseason. When they signed Valanciunas, that has opened up everything for Jokic. He's playing less minutes. He's fresh. The time that he's on the court, he's got way more energy. Last year, they were having to play him way too much, and he's getting a lot of rest. So you're getting an aggressive Jokic tonight against Vucevic that played over 40 minutes last night. I just don't think this goes well for Chicago. And I would take the first half on the total. On the spread. Let's do -8.5 on the Denver Nuggets. this is the Denver Nuggets team that's 5-1 covering the spread in home games this season. I think they get off to a good start. And guys like Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, when they're fresh and they're going up against some tired legs, they just have all the advantages in the world. We can take a look at some props here. Jalen Smith over 8.5 points. If Vucevic is tired and gets some rest or gets in any foul trouble, Jalen Smith is going to come in and he's going to get minutes, especially if this is a blowout late. So I like Jalen Smith over 8.5 points and Aaron Gordon over 5.5 rebounds. I could see a lot of missed shots coming from the Chicago Bulls team. Jokic is dealing with a little bit of an injury. And if you look, Aaron Gordon has had 23 rebound chances the last 2 games. He gets anywhere near this 11 or 12 rebound chances. I love him to get over 5.5 rebounds. So we're going to take the Nuggets to cover the spread at 8.5 in the first half. We'll take a look at Jalen Smith over his points and Aaron Gordon over his rebounds. NBA and NHL best bets are up. Props continue to hit. We're up over 11 units just in the month of November on these. We like to combine the NHL and NBA props kind of into one pack, so you get to see how we play them off of each other. You get to see how we follow a lot of the same guys. We also have a Monday Night Football pack that is up 2 plays. We're 17-10 in primetime games. In the NFL, those are over at WagerTalk.com. If you could, please hit the like button. Leave a comment below. It really helps the algorithm out, and appreciate you guys watching. All right, that is going to do it for us for Monday's Wager Talk today. Went just a little long, but a lot of good information, a lot of good bets on the board. It's $5 Tuesday tomorrow. We're going to gear up for that. Don't forget the like button. Leave us a comment, and thank you so much. Chat, you crushed it today. Let's have a big Monday, get this week started off right. Good luck on your best night. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.